Welcome to this look at a new mod map on Farming Simulator 25 with me, MrSealyp. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here on Sunshine Forest. This is a new mod map out by Carl TG, 304.6 megabytes download with one required mod, and that is the Peat equipment pack. You don't have to do the Peat. That has actually had an update. The other map by Carl TG that it was on was Tassie Farm, and Tassie Farm had an update. I will say, if you're coming on here thinking that original map tour I did on Tassie Farm, where if you did peat harvesting, peat collecting, you made a fortune, that all got adjusted. It got amended to a more sensible price. I think it's gone too far the other way now. That's just a personal opinion. But what I will say, there we go, every time I forget, this map is an absolute corker. It looks phenomenal. The detail on here, and that immersion, there's a real immersion to it. Let's have a look at the map, shall we? Here's the map. Slot count is 954 on all three game modes. I got that down to 771 by removal of all the vehicles and machinery, and there's one shed. There's a curiosity with the shed, actually, which we're going to talk about momentarily. There is a train on the map. The train comes from here and comes all the way up and goes out to Goldcrest Valley. Now, when I say contracts are available, that's contracts plus. So log delivery, dead wood, those kind of things. Because as you can see, there are no fields. But do not despair. This is kind of a pioneering map. We have got over here, we start with a new farm with this plot here, which is 311,174. That's got the main farm, I guess we'll call it farm, and the two big peat fields, which you don't have to touch if you don't want to. The other plots, which are mostly forestry, but not all, aren't too expensive at all, not too shabby. Everglow Thicket up here, we've got the Sunbeam Creek there, and then down here we've got Sunshine Swamp. And again, prices not too bad for any of these plots. And I'm going to show you a couple of these areas, because these areas here are much more open. So if you want to come on here and just plough fields and create some farmland, it's nice and open. You wouldn't even have to remove any trees if you didn't want to, but if you wanted bigger fields, there might be a few trees here and there you might need to remove if you wanted to. Again, you don't have to. What is also nice is the main area here, which has got the sell points, there's a lumber yard and stuff here. You can buy the land, so that gives you the ability to add in bits and bobs, sell points, decorative items, whatever else you might want to put on here, which I think is absolutely brilliant. If we come out of here and we'll walk into the yard, private property. Now, this is the curiosity. So this is under, let me just double check this door here. There we go. I suddenly thought, I don't understand. I'm missing some equipment and machinery, and I couldn't get into the building because I couldn't open these doors from the outside. And when I removed it, there were two gaping great holes in the floor. And I thought, that doesn't make any sense. That's because this harvesting equipment was in here, and those gaping great holes were for the inspection pits. There we go. That makes a lot more sense. Workshop trigger just here, which I haven't got on my notes, like I say, because I was just going to say, it doesn't make any sense. There's this shed you can't get into. Yes, you can. That's here. Around the side here, more equipment and machinery. Start with the wheel loader. We do still have a fair bit of kit, like I say, on all three game modes, which is pretty cool. So if you're getting going, sleep and wardrobe trigger just here. And again, you can kind of build that thing up and then build a home here, or if you want to do constructables, or you want to do whatever you want. It's entirely to you what you want to do, of course. But again, my mind is like, I'm thinking, oh, you know, and I was only talking a while ago about my Homeworkra series I did and how much I really enjoyed that. And this is one of those weird things. I was just talking to one of my daughters about this. Not that you're necessarily bothered about this bit, but late last night I was trying to find a new series to watch, skimming through, and I found something called The Last Woodsman, about forestry out in like the middle of nowhere, only accessible by the river. And I started watching that, and then I'd come onto this today to do the map tour, and I'm like, whoa, hang on a minute, I've got that kind of that login bug, you know. Anyway, pickup truck, which we're going to use momentarily. We have got a lorry with crane and bunks for carrying of logs, so if you want to do your logging. But we also start with all the peat equipment. Now, if you didn't watch the Tassie Farm map tour, the peat equipment pack is a separate pack, but it will only work on maps that are prepared for peat. And I've got a clip I've already done I'm going to show you just momentarily, because from when I did Tassie Farm, what's been added into this pack is this. and this is a peat dryer. So for all intents and purposes, it's no different to, say, cutting grass. This is your peat cutter, and the peat field is just here. So what you would do is you go up with your cutter, and what that would do in real life is kind of cut sections. But that's your kind of peat, let's say, harvester, mower. You come along and that will do the peat, which is a dark brown colour. And then what was added into this pack is the dryer. You go over that, that is basically your tedder. That's your peat tedder. That dries it down. You get more money for dried peat than you do for regular peat. At least that's what it says in the description. We'll talk about that momentarily. Then this is what's called the ridger. This is your windrower. So this will build those up into piles. And then you've also got round here, this is your kind of harvesting unit, collection unit, and there's also a trailer, semi-trailer, that this is designed to go on, a really wide semi-trailer, which again I showed on Tassie Farm is part of this pack. And then this will pick it all up into this container, you can take it and sell it. But it does also say that part of the pack, when the peat pack was updated, was that it allows for peat to be picked up with shovels and buckets and put into trailers as well. So you don't need to use that. You can use wheel loaders and things like that if you've got piles of the stuff. Now, what I was saying, and we've got a lorry there with our semi-trailer, so you can fit it up either way, whichever you want to do. Plus, we've got some stuff if you want to get on with sort of, let's say get on with. We don't have any farming equipment, but that's the beauty of doing this. You can start off as a peat farmer, my old mate Pete Boggs, do a bit of forestry on your land, and then gradually start building up your farming equipment. And then where you're clearing land, or buy a plot of land that's clearer, then start building up your farming empire. I kind of like the idea of that. I really do. So yeah, what I'll do is I'll cut to a short clip of me doing the peat harvesting and the peat drying. And then obviously windrowing is fairly straightforward and collecting is fairly straightforward. But just because I didn't get to use the dryer when I did my last map tour, so I'll just cut to that now. So there you have it. fairly straightforward. What I will do, I'm just because I couldn't open these either, and I'm just going to double check just in case around the back of this if there's a door. I don't think there is on these. I think because this was I couldn't remove this. There are rear doors, but it doesn't seem to be giving me any option to open these. So I assume this is just here for the look of it. And like I say, these can't be removed either, all the decorative items. But it's quite a large area anyway. Let's go and grab the pickup. And we'll go for a bit of a drive because there's some bits I want to show you. And I think because this has got different zones as well. So on your, I mean, at the end of the day, the equipment and machinery we're using isn't going to be too difficult. I've just realised what I've done. Hang on a second. Okay, so from here, I'm going to start off going the way that we don't need to go, but we do need to go back the other way. I'll show you on the map in a moment. It'll make sense. That's the way we need to go to get up to where the store and stuff like that is, the railroad, or the station, shall we say. That takes us straight up and next to our peat fields, which are just there. We're going to just go this way. So there's a couple of bits I want to show you, which again, it's showing you the detail on the map. I love it. But like I say, the equipment machinery we've got won't struggle with it, but it's that thing of the different areas. You've got some dense forestry areas, you've got some fairly open forestry areas, and you've got this whole section here, which is basically swamp logging. And I love this. I love the addition of this and how it gets deeper. Like I say, you're not going to get stuck, you're not going to get bogged down, but it just adds a whole element. But what I also love as well is the bridge system here over the swamp. Again, it's elegant. The level of detail to include this in here, I think is just brilliant. Really, really cool. It adds a real element of immersion to it all, which I really like. So what we'll do is come out of here, because what I want to show you then as well is some of the open areas. Now we could just get ready to be infuriated if you're one of those people. I could just throw the drone up. Yes, we don't have a drone. I just use the landscaping tool, but you know. But I thought, you know what, we'll drive because we can see a bit more of the map. Also, there's a bit along here which was it. I'm not going to lie. When I was doing my look around the map, it caught me out here. So as we drive around here, we come to the next bridge bit, just here. Now, what I also thought was, if you bought this land, you can always you can sell the land back, I guess. You could. Oh, there's good timing. Look, there goes the train. You could this rocky bit here. Put rock and stuff down the side of this. Now there is that additional fill types pack that came out. Was it by Weasel? I think it might have been Weasel. That has gravel and sand and topsoil, and you could really go to town on this, you know, as a kind of mining, forestry, all sorts of stuff. But yeah, this big look, all these rocks on the ground here. Now I don't think we have in game yet, because you get the rock removal contracts, but then once you've done the contract, within, you know, you go away, and then when it resets itself, those rocks come back. It's a pity we don't have an option to come along with a rock breaker, remove those for good and get them out of the way. Now I'm saying that, I haven't tested, I don't think that's a thing, but these rocks are here in the way. I guess again with that topsoil thing, you could cover that, you could make a thing, maybe landscape it, I don't know. But going from the forestry area, we come out into these much more open areas, which again, if you're going to be going for a more pioneer-esque thing, it might be the first thing you do is come on here with a plough and say, right, I'm ploughing some fields, and absolutely fine. So out to our right there, and you've got this little creek as well, so you've got the ability as well with the various different mods available for putting in bridges and things, which again, I love that whole construction thing, you know. What would be cool as well, under the constructions, we've got sheds and stuff like that, and we talked to Giants about this at FarmCon before the game released, and said, you know, will there be other construction items and can modders do them? They said they didn't see why not, but we haven't really had much in the way of that. But I think bridges would be a cool thing, especially when we used to have the metal, you know, with the iron ore and the metal, making iron ore and making metal sheets and stuff like that, that you could bring it out and you've got to bring lumber, you've got to bring metal, or if it's just a wooden bridge, you've just got to bring lumber. And over a period of time, it builds a bridge. Wouldn't that be cool? I think that would be an amazing thing. Anyway, I know it's not going to specifically to do with this map tour. So out here to our left, this is part of the more open land, and to our right there as well, we've got some fire break areas as well. So you've got sections run through for fire breaks and telegraph poles and electricity and whatnot. But see how open this all is? So you could easily buy some land out here, the land's not too expensive, and start ploughing out your fields. And there's the odd tree here and there. If you want to add a bit of, you know, the old one tree farm sort of thing, or whatever, you could have one tree in the middle of a field. Or if trees aren't your thing, we have plenty of mods available to mulch them, remove them, devour them. We've got so many things available, and we have a lot of productions now that take all these various different things, various different sawmills, various different wood productions, things that use wood chips. So as far as that kind of goes, there's a whole industry based around it. So I just wanted to show you that rocky area, the open areas is here as well, because as well, I don't want people to just come on, see the title, you know, Sunshine Forest, and straight away it's a forestry map, I'm not interested. Because with a lot of the forestry maps, you don't have to do forestry, or you don't have to just do forestry. And this one is one of those ones you don't have to do any if you don't want to. You could really just come on here as a pioneering thing and say, look, I've got a tractor, I've got a plough, let's go to work, you know, I don't know. But the problem with that is there's no other... I suppose you could pick up just wood transport jobs, couldn't you? There are, like I say, having that available now, there are contracts you can do on maps that don't have fields, which is something we didn't have before, and I like that as an option, especially when they're added in by the map maker, because that can be a tricky thing. So this is the direction we need to go. I think the lighting works well, colour palette's good. There's enough splash of colour here and there as well. Like I say, it's not overly cartoony, but it's not overly harsh either. They have struck a balance, which is what you need. So, there's a nice mixture of forestry as well. So looking side to side as we're going along. Different size trees. And again, if you want to come out here with your tree marking, you might decide, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to only cut down trees of a certain height. We're going to leave the smaller ones, and whatever it might be, and come out and go around and mark the trees. And you've got to go out and you've got to find all the marked trees to cut down. There are all different ways around of doing it. So we put into the yard, the first of the yards, just here. We've got storage bay, which is the sell point. That's the main sell point of the map. But again, like I said, all of this area can be purchased. You might have to be a little bit careful on this section, but it will tell you anyway. Because over there we've got the vehicle shop and the vehicle workshop, and the reset point for the map is here. Now when I reset this to double check, it reset it right over in that corner. So I'm assuming this whole area here is reset point. But if you're trying to put a placeable down, it will tell you whether you're in the shop area and that kind of thing. So here's your sell point. Storage bay, animal dealer just here, and Ben is just over there for a chat. Not all of the NPCs on the map, I think it's just Ben and Noah. I'm going to double check actually, because I suddenly thought, I'm sure it's just Ben and Noah. Yeah. So like I say, this big area here, and then over there you've got your workshop and your vehicle shop. Now interesting with this one as well, the workshop trigger is only repair. It's not repair and repaint, which is unusual for a main shop trigger. Oh, tell you what I've forgotten to do as well. Probably should do that now. Build mode. Let's go into build mode. Under sheds, we've got that one there. So that's the shed. That's the garage. And I couldn't work out why I couldn't get into it. That's the one. And we worked out we can. So we're good. Come across there to tools. Oh, and there's your vehicle shop. That could be why then it's a modded one. So the vehicle shop's been modded, and it is only repair, not repair and repaint. There are a lot of modded ones that will do repair and repaint, but again, if you're not bothered about repainting, I'm not too bothered. I like that wear and tear, that patina that a vehicle gets. And then I think the other one was under factories, and it's the lumber mill, which is just there for 150 grand. Now that one doesn't do prefab wall. It will do your planks, long planks, wood beams, with wood chip, but not prefab wall. So again, there's plenty of space, and obviously you've got an entire map you can create wherever you want, which is also very nice as well. Other than that, there was nothing added in under decoration, under paint, textures, bushes, trees, that kind of stuff. It was all pretty much as it comes. So if we come across here, we've got a way station just there, and then round to our left we've got the lumber mill. And as I've already said, that will do your 3 types, but not everything. And then over here we've got our rent train point. It does work. I tried it. The train did stop, which is brilliant. Then we've got our platform here for loading. But what is cool, and it does say, there you go, there's a log sell point just there. But what it does say is thank you to MA7 Studio for allowing the log crane from Pelenier to be added in, which is very cool. So the log crane's up on there. It's actually I've got a short video clip I'm going to show you. I didn't think to use this end, did I? To go up? Of course I didn't. I tried to go up on there, and I've got a video clip where I've got the train in, and I was just using. I haven't got any trees, but I was just using the crane. But I'll cut that clip now because that's very cool. So that enables you to then pull up alongside, load the train up from this side from a trailer, or if you've been logging this side and piling up that side, you can load from that side onto a train, or off of a train and on, however you want to go about it. Is entirely up to you. So I'll cut to that little clip now. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That's the map. That's Sunshine Forest. I know I say every time I do a map tour, on a map that I'm buzzing about, and I'm saying I've got all these ideas, and then obviously I get back into the flow of the day-to-day of getting hammered with mods, map tours, stuff that Giants are releasing. I'll try and catch up with my Let's Plays, and obviously doing stuff in between on my Let's Plays before I can do an episode takes time. And then I'm thinking, I want to start a new Let's Play. And then Giants will drop a ton more mods, and I seem to be falling further and further behind. And I'll do a map like this and think, I really do like the idea of this, but then in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, I don't want to alienate a whole section of my viewers, because not everyone likes forestry. But it's funny that when I did the Western Wilds and I did Holmerkra, which were primarily both when I started out logging series, both series did really, really well. Yeah, if you do a logging episode or you do logging, people are, I hate forestry, I don't like forestry, I just want to see you do farming. It's interesting, isn't it, how that happens? So I have to be, I don't know. I really do like the idea of this, especially having the peat farming in there as well. Peat collection, is it farming? The peat does regrow as well, by the way, for anybody who didn't watch the Tassie map tour. But anyway, that is the map. Sorry, I digress, I continue, I waffle as I do. By Carl TG. I hope you found this useful and informative in some way, shape or form. If you have, please give us a like. If you don't subscribe yet, please do. If you want to leave a comment, feel free. And if you want to share this video, then please be my guest. Whatever you choose to do, as always, thanks for watching.